I mean, this one is the prime picking right here. Sunday night football, Dolphins at Eagles. The line is 52. That's the over under. Philly's favored by a point and a half right now. Man, 2-5-1 teams. The Dolphins are riding high. The Eagles coming off a tough loss. This one could be some fireworks.
Yeah, man, this is Sunday night, huh? This is this is why you pay for cable or you steal somebody's cable. Shit, 5-1. I mean, these
We don't
these
know a way
are
to watch this game.
these are two of the best teams in the NFL, man. These are Super Bowl contending teams. The Miami Dolphins are on a freaking historic run, and then Philly, man, they're the runner-ups, and it's a big measuring stick, right? Philly, like Manny, which is weird. It's like a little correlation there. Got their first loss last week, so are they going to lose another game? And I know the Eagles are talking about retooling, but man, this one's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how this one goes. This could be a Super Bowl preview.
Hmm.
So that'd be a heck of a Super Bowl. But how about you? Or I heard that you're going to be watching a team a little closer to home for us, huh?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it back home. I'm gonna be watching the Bucs and the Falcons, man. All right.
So this
Because
has a 38 over under. What are you looking for in this one?
I'm looking I'm looking for who's gonna be the king of the South.
There you go.
All right. And it's a good chance for us to find out what we got in our team. Obviously, right now we haven't done well against the top teams, so we like the Lions and the Eagles. We understand that if we were to face these teams in the playoffs, we would just get our ass whooped. But so right, and it's kind of like we were talking about, in recent times. How is your team? How good is your team? Is it an average team? Is it just good enough to just barely get to the playoffs and get knocked out, or is it bad enough to get a top pick? So it sucks, right? This is purgatory. It's what you guys call it, right?
Yeah.
You're good,
Yeah.
but you're not that good.
Yeah, and I think that's really been the story of the Bucs season. I'm actually interested in this game too, not just as a Bucs fan, but I mean, look at our schedule. We have beat the teams and bullied the teams that we were supposed to bully that weren't that were not good at all.
Right,
We beat the Saints, who I would say is below average, but they just we beat them into the ground again. They don't look like a good team either. But
right.
then you look at the teams that we got beat by, the Lions and the Eagles, those are the cream of the crop. So that our ceiling is very limited, probably second round of the playoffs at best, and the floor is limited as well because we can beat the bad teams. We got a few of those on the pro. So what are we going to look at versus a truly average team? Because this could be one I could see that the Bucks should win and don't. You know what I mean? So how are they going to, rebound from that horrible showing versus the Lions last week? Because, we got beat by the Lions. They did beat us. They owned us that game. But
Yeah,
there were a lot of things that we beat ourselves on too. So,
it's
but
gonna be
we'll see what they get away with this week.
it's gonna be interesting. I mean, Tampa's only scored 90 points this season. Atlanta at 99, and if you haven't seen Atlanta much this year, they literally have to be one of the slowest teams on the fucking field. Like every week, it's literally the most boring thing you can watch. Now, granted, that game against Washington was a little bit different, right? Because once they're trailing, things can get a little bit exciting for Atlanta. But if they hold the lead, hey, turn off the TV and go to sleep. Forget about it.
Yep. Everybody wants to run the ball, but nobody wants to run the ball more than the Falcons. So, man, I'm telling you, that can be a tough watch sometimes, especially when they're not even giving the ball to Bijan in the backfield. They're splitting them out and then running Algier, who is just a plodding runner.
That's a crime.
But speaking of players, the player that I want to watch, and I mean this feels like a layup, but there's a reason behind it, is Patrick Mahomes versus the Chargers.
Ooh.
So there's a high over under. It's 48, fairly high. I mean, this is a divisional game, and is it just me or does the Chiefs not really look like the Chiefs? Mahomes doesn't look exactly like Mahomes. And, he's been good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crapping on Mahomes, but,
Yeah.
they besides that 41-10 shellacking of the Bears, which honestly, everybody was doing to the Bears. You know what I mean? They've scored 20 points, 17 points, 23, 27 versus Minnesota. That was all right. 19 points versus Denver. They just look a step slower than last year. Their defense looks a step faster, so it's working out. but and I think they can, and that's why I'm not saying that I'm expecting Mahomes like there's an option where he fails here. But
Hmm.
how much ground has the division made up? How much ground has Herbert made up in trying to keep up with the greatest quarterback playing right now? Because that's what's going to matter. Do you have a QB that is close enough to being as good as Mahomes to keep the team in it and possibly upset in the playoffs or in a game like this?
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm with you. These games are fun. All right, they're fun to
Hmm.
watch because you got two potent offenses. The Chiefs' defense is actually pretty good this year. I'm impressed. But they do give up a lot of points, both teams, when they do play each other. So it's a lot of fun to watch. But it's a good measuring stick. You're right, because the Chargers, even though they haven't done very well, they're right there on their tails, and the Chiefs, it's crazy. It's what, the second year now, and it just looks like they're still trying to figure it out. Um,
Yeah.
Bottom line, they don't have Tyreek Hill, so when you don't have a player of that caliber, and you see what the man's doing over there in Miami, you're gonna be left figuring it out for a long time. But when you got Mahomes, you got a chance.
Yeah, they're going to have to go after an alpha sooner or later, and they might learn that lesson this year. But you're not actually looking at a player; you're looking at a coach. What you looking at Bill Belichick for? Is it because Lewis is all over him right now on his knees, or
Oh yeah, nah. I'm looking at Bill
oh, something
Belichick.
different?
I want to ask you a serious question. Okay. I want to ask you: are we witnessing the end of an era, or is this just a blip of a Hall of Fame coaching career?
Um, I'll put it this way: I do not think we're watching the end of an era because I think we already watched it. I
Oh
think that I think it's
shit!
already been proven, and I'm not even saying because of
Yeah.
Brady and the Bucs beating the Patriots. I mean, the Bucs barely won that game. I don't think that proves it. I don't think that anything like that. But it, it's kind of what we expected. Like Belichick was good, but there were signs that he wasn't that good. They've had draft evaluation and talent evaluation problems, overthinking, giving all that money to what Hunter Henry and Nelson Aguilar a
Yeah.
couple years ago, drafting N'Keal Harry, and there are the other wide receivers they missed on, and it's like I think that Brady was the type of quarterback that could make up for a lot of shortcomings. He really, really could. He was all the way through the end of his reign there. I think that he's already proven and that it's done that Belichick's way is not going to get him where he needs to be without having a quarterback that can overcome. He just doesn't have that about him anymore. And I mean, Belichick's one of the greatest coaches ever, but I think his time is up. But yeah, I think that his best days are behind him. I think that it's been proven, and it doesn't matter. It took both of them to win 6 Super Bowls. Don't get me wrong, and go to 9. But the era has been done because the NFL is in a very new era that the Patriots are going to have to get with. I think they amicably part ways after this offseason.
All right, well that's fair. I mean, that was tough. Watching that Raiders versus Patriots game. Josh McDaniels, right, the up and coming apprentice, uh, just beating the teacher, the professor, and beating him with his own former tools, right? Jacoby Myers, not Mac Jones, Jimmy G, Brian Hoyer. I mean, these are all former Patriots, and now they're 1-5. They're coming off these disastrous losses where they've just been blanked out. They look worse than an XFL team. I mean, they might be the worst team in the NFL right now. I don't know. I can't think of a worse team right now.
And here's what could you imagine if they end up getting the top pick and have a chance at Caleb Williams? And then what does Bill Belichick do then? Does
That's what
he
I'm
try to say,
saying.
no, wait, I can build up this guy, or is Kraft going to say, nope, it's time to go. We want someone else to build this guy up.
That's what I'm saying. So do they wait to till the end of the season, and if they have the number one pick, then they don't fire Belichick, or do they fire him in the season? And I
I think
mean,
they need to. I don't think you try to fire him. I think you try to make it that he retired,
okay,
like force him to retire because he deserves that at least. But he's not going to be there long enough. And he already proved that he didn't really help Mac Jones too much with his decisions at offensive coordinator last year and all that. I just think that, they need to clean house, start over.
Damn. Well, it was fun while it lasted, especially if you're from Boston.
Yep, that's about the only ones that had fun during all that. So let's get into our almost last segment here. Feeling it or dealing it. We already had to deal with some of these feelings here. Lions defeated the Bucs 20-6. It really wasn't close. This felt like one of those '90s battles that we just underperformed on a Thursday night. But instead, we're in the creamsicles and we're looking just like the '80s creamsicle Bucs. Not a
I,
fun watch.
I wish we played a different team, man, but it is what it is.
We did not come out with the fire after that bye week, but speaking of no fire, Texans defeated the Saints 20-13. At least we kept pace with the Saints in the division. They lost, we lost. I can deal with that. Um, Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars defeated the Colts. Did not give a good homecoming to Minshew, 37-20. How'd you like this game?
It was all right. I was considering this game being a trap game, so I was tired of everybody trying to, say this was just a slam dunk win. There is no slam dunks win in the NFL, by the way. Go ask the
Not in
49ers.
history.
Go ask the 49ers who was fucking celebrating, before they played the Browns and no Deshaun Watson. So I don't know. It's an up and down team. It's an up and down. We discussed a lot of things with this team this whole year. Um, you're just not excited. The Colts are not a good team, especially with Garden Minshew. Are you kidding me? Like with your former backup quarterback. So they look good at times. They look bad at times. I don't know. When they play a good team, that's when you kind of get a better feel for what this team is all about. They got a long way to go. They definitely do. The defense, though, that defense, it's something to hang your high hat on. They have what I would say probably a top three cornerback in the NFL out there right now.
Yeah, man, they look good on defense. I mean, like look at that game versus the Chiefs. The bad news was they only scored 9 points. Good news is they kept the Chiefs to 17.
Yeah,
So it's a one-score game. But hey, I think they're still on the way up. They still got some learning to do.
yeah.
It's only the second year of that Reich system. So um, next up, Finns again got a little bit of a first quarter scare at 14-0 to start out with the Panthers, which I thought was fun, and that's what spurred the offensive onslaught. 42-21, Dolphins defeat the Panthers. We know Alex is happy about that. Got any thoughts about this, or carry on after just another shellacking by the Dolphins?
I'm Dolphin traumatized. Let's just move on.
Gotcha. Jets defeat the Eagles. This was definitely an upset. Man, it ruined one of the um, things that I was in, the guillotine, and I got the axe after this one. I thought the Eagles were a lock to defeat the Jets, but they won. Jets did 20-14, and then the partly snooze fest with the Bills and the Giants, which this just shocked the living daylights out of me. 14-9. I would have expected that score in the first quarter, not in the whole game. But the Bills won over the Giants. Not very fun to watch, but hey, at least the end was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. I remember back to the words. There's no such thing as a trap game. They were talking about the Giants not having their starting quarterback. The Bills were probably already celebrating getting drunk the night before they even played this game, and they forgot that you still have to play a football game.
Yeah, and honestly though, I can't believe the Bills would make that mistake because they all should know that if
Yeah,
Daniel Jones has to sit,
yeah,
then the Giants actually get better. So
yeah. You're right. Yeah,
they did. It even affected the defense.
no
Last up,
interceptions.
yeah, I'm telling you. They hung with them to the very end. There were some BS calls. I would have liked to have seen the Giants pull that one off for once, but yeah,
No,
alas.
no turnovers from Tyrod Taylor, by the way.
Yeah, no touchdowns either, though. And last up, the Buy Mageddon reminder, guys. We got 6 teams on bye, and there's some prime teams: the Panthers, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Jets, the Titans. Panthers, Bengals, Cowboys, Texans, Jets, Titans. Keep that in mind. Start the right guys. Good luck this week. Goose, any last words, brother?
Oh no, man. I'm just having fun with it. It's not fun being the butt of the league, but you know, he's gotta have fun with it, man. You can't get too down. You can't take this shit too serious. We got real life to worry about, real life problems. So it's supposed to be an escape. So if this shit gets too much, you just walk away from it. No big deal. Can't do that in real life. So just keep playing your guys. Make some trades. I might be traded maxed out at this point because it does get to a point as a veteran, trader, that when you start trading too many times, you actually start making your team worse. So I think I'm close to that point. And one false move and it all goes downhill. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's very true. It's you know, I like what you said before. I mean, that's the thing. Is this supposed to be fun, right? If it's not fun, then don't do it. I know that we all stress out and put ourselves through this every year, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna have a good year, and then it's the fan, and it's like, actually, no, you're not. You're gonna wonder why you do this to yourself every
yeah,
year. But the thing is, it just gives you a different way to focus on football and to kind of know what's going on and keep abreast of the news. And that's kind of what I like about it as well. I'm in 10 leagues, folks. This is I
damn,
enjoy this stuff, but different types of leagues so I can kind of get used to super flex and tight end premiums and all that. And I encourage y'all to do the same, especially if it takes
Shoot a
your
shot.
focus off this league so I can
I'm
whoop
coming
the
in hot.
ass. All
damn.
right. So uh I'm not calling any shots. I mean, it's by Mageddon, but I absolutely enjoy fantasy and I enjoy this league. And good luck to everybody.
Yeah,
And
coming in hot.
peace.
Yeah,
Just
man.
like the fajita.
Peace.
I write what I live. My life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow. Just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam.